Ladies and gentlemen, Liam Walker here, and as if I needed any more proof the universe hates me, I am sitting here with Boone the Gator King.
Well, I hate you too, don't worry, Liam.
Now, Boone, aside from the fact that murder is illegal in all 50 states and Canada, what was it that made you get into professional wrestling?
Well, Liam, you know, I personally like punching you in the face, so I thought that was a good reason, but other than that, I like putting people down. I like putting people on the ground, and I like making them squeal like pigs.
Ooh, that's some heavy Alabama stuff right there. Well, aside from making pigs and people squeal, what did you do before you got into pro wrestling?
You know what? Well, I guess I can answer that honestly. Before I got into pro wrestling, I was in and out of juvenile jails, and I went on this camping trip. I remember it very vaguely, but everyone in my camping trip got eaten by a gator. And I got lost in the Everglades. And if you guys really want to know what happened to Boone, Father Jim found him. Father Jim taught me my ways. Father Jim made me strong enough to go back and find that gator. Her name was Bessie, by the way. And personally rip her head off. That's what I did. And then after that, I just went from swamp to swamp, fighting the biggest gators I could find. And I got tired of fighting gators, so I came to fight men.
So moving on from Deliverance, the Boone story, who were some of your inspirations in pro wrestling, and have you incorporated any of their tactics or techniques into your moveset?
Well, Liam, when I was younger, I used to watch Sting. The Stinger, he definitely was number one on my list. Undertaker was number two, but I definitely got inspiration from Sting, and yeah, I do moves from Sting. My finishing move is derived from Sting. I do the same DDT that man did for 30 years to break people's necks. So yeah, I guess I do have some inspiration. Other than that, I liked how Undertaker didn't care about anything. He would go and he would kidnap the boss's daughter and string her up over the ring. Yeah, those were some days back in, oh yeah. And then there was Mankind. You know, Mankind was crazy. I liked watching the Boiler Room brawls. I really think he ripped his hair out one time, but I couldn't figure out if it was, you know, but yeah, you know, back to what I was saying, I really like The Undertaker and Sting.
Well, creepy wrestler for a creepy bastard. I guess it makes sense. So, Boone, let's talk about your wrestling training then. How did you find Lethal Academy?
Well, I found the Lethal Academy because I was down watching a wrestling show in Naples, and this wrestler was watching me beat the living hell out of somebody just in the crowd. I just decided to for some reason. I don't even remember. I think I wanted money, and you need money to get drinks, right? I was pretty thirsty, but I don't know. That might have been it. But he saw me beating the living hell out of this guy, so he came up to me and he said, "Hey, what's your name?" I said, "My name's Boone." He said, "All right, well, I got this wrestling school up in Tampa that you can go to called the Lethal Academy." And I said, "All right, well, who's going to train me how to wrestle?" And, you know, he told me this guy, Jay Lethal. But I went up there to train with the man, and he beat the living hell out of me for 6 weeks. That man got intestinal fortitude, so if that man could do that, well, why else not learn from him?
And that leads me to my next question. How many felonies did you have to commit to pay for training?
What's a felony?
Anything that's illegal in all 50 states and Canada and results in severe jail time.
Well, I didn't go to jail for anything.
Okay, how many robberies did you commit?
Oh, that's what you had to say. You just had to say how many robberies that I had to commit. Well, there was that one guy. He was $200. I'm a 1, 2, 3, probably 10.
Oh, bless your heart. Yeah, 10 guys that are unfortunately probably somewhere at the bottom of a river somewhere.
Oh, no, they definitely are at the bottom. Hey, whoa, is this being recorded?
Yes.
Oh, they're not at the bottom of the river.
Well, it's been fun, Boone. Law enforcement's sure to see this now. So, Boone, we've covered your past. Now let's talk about the future. What do you see for yourself going forward? How many people do you see yourself knocking out in the future in this business?
Well, you want to know something? I've been wrestling for 5 years. Been a lot of disrespect towards Boone. Nobody showed me the proper respect. So for the future, I'm gonna go to all your heroes. I'm gonna knock them all off their pedestals. I'm gonna go to all your champions. I'm gonna take all their titles. The future is successful for Boone, whether it be in Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling, whether it be in Knockout Road. Wait, they're gone. Whether it be in UCW, whether it be in ARW, whether it be out of Florida, it doesn't matter. You put me in the best with the, you put me in the ring with the best, and I'll put down the best every single time. That's my future.
Hey, did you like that interview? You want to see more? Maybe some behind the curtain stuff here at Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling? Well, go to our Patreon, become an enthusiast supporter. That's just $10 a month, and you will see this plus a whole lot more.
Hey, for all your merchandise and collectible needs, check out shoptampabayprowrestling.com. We've got merch and more from your favorite superstars. We'll see you there.
Boone the Gator King, welcome to the very first installment of the Daxcast. We're going to go behind the scenes here, get to know Boone the Gator King a little bit better, ask him those tough questions, ask him what he's all about, and get the man behind the Gator.
It's the first time we're doing this. Oh, yeah, I just broke character. Hi. How you doing?
Boone, welcome. We've been, I remember recruiting you from day one. You were actually, came all the way from down South Florida, something, was it Davie?
Yeah, I came from David.
So you came from Davie, Florida. There was another gentleman, Vinny, who came with you guys. You guys came up as a pair. And I remember when you guys showed up, and we were still at the training center at the Shack, out by the airport. We were doing orientation outside, and you guys rolled up. I'm a car guy. You guys rolled up in the shittiest vehicle I think I've fucking ever seen.
Yeah.
I could not fucking believe that this vehicle made it from Davie, Florida to Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, the same day.
For 4 hours in the same day.
The same day.
And then on top of that, we would go through our orientation and stuff like that. And then after that, you guys, I think, went back.
Yeah, we had to go back home.
That weekend?
That night, we were only back home for like a week. We had to come up and do orientation a week before we moved up here.
What kind of car was that? I just have to know.
It was a 93 Grand Prix, I think.
It wasn't a Grand Prix. I think it was a Beretta.
There's something my mom had was red. The red one, right?
Yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah.
It was
a Grand Am, I think it was.
Grand Am. It was like the Pontiac Grand Am.
Pontiac Grand Am.
Or Bonneville. Maybe it was a Bonneville.
It was old. It was definitely.
It was old. It was a piece of shit.
It was one of 500 cars that was ever made. Just my mom. The car I had was crap. My mom just got hers redone. She wanted me to just drive mine up. So
we'll get to Mom. The Gator Mom. The Gator Mom, actually, let's get to her now. The Gator Mom. She's actually been a talent, a performer.
Yeah.
On Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, she's on FITE, actually, I think.
She's on FITE. She came out with you before.
Yep. The last time I was a face, she came out with me. I was still wearing that ugly hat.
Yeah, you used to come out with like a straw hat?
No, it was like something that you would wear. Something that you would wear in they like a fisherman.
Oh, fisherman.
Yeah, like a fisherman that had like the net going down my neck and everything, and the ugliest thing in the world. Definitely not a king.
But do you like fishing?
No, I hate fishing. Actually,
I hate fishing. I fucking hate fishing. My dad loved fishing. He was actually from, I hate to hijack this, but I want to say because my dad's gone now, but he graduated Sebring High School, and him and his buddies were straight up swamp rednecks. Okay? Like, I'm talking like they would fish for hours. If they saw something move, they probably would stab it. and then they would leave them at the bottom of the river. And like in Arbuckle Creek in Sebring, Florida, my buddy Cahagas lives in Sebring. I love that town. I really do. That's where my dad's from. So I can recognize this, but my dad was a city man.
Yeah.
Really, he was.
Yeah.
His friends were these swamp guys. They were these rednecks, and I'm talking true rednecks. And I've never seen guys clean fish as fast as they were. I don't like fishing. Man, what's going on out there? I don't like fishing, but the thing is it was fun with them.
Well,
because they would just catch, and we would go down the Everglades, and we would drop our line in, and like I never caught, so like you would wait 45 seconds, and you would have a bait line.
I was your dad, so I was the city boy with a bunch of rednecks around me. In Davie, you know, it's one of the entrances to the Everglades. They have a park there, Holiday Park. A lot of people probably know it from watching Animal Planet. It's where the Gator Boys are from.
Oh, the Gator Boys.
Yeah, I actually did meet them once when they were all kids. I met their parents. I used to hang out in their little park area at night and do delinquent stuff with gators. So this is all true. You're not supposed to touch a gator, people, but we definitely did touch a couple gators.
You know, the times I've been across, because in wrestling we would drive across Alligator Alley.
Alligator Alley.
If you're not from Florida, Alligator Alley is from Naples to basically like Broward.
Yeah.
North Broward.
I don't even take Alligator Alley when I go south.
Oh, you go the other way?
I go through Alligator Alley and I get off, and I actually go through the Everglades. That's how redneck I am. I get off and go take Tamiami Trail when I go down.
Oh, there's Tamiami. I've done that before.
Yeah.
I prefer just stay on the highway and go fast, and it's kind of funny the people you see on just cruising.
You can go fast on Tamiami too. There's no cops.
Yeah, that's true. But be careful. Drive safe out there, folks.
Yeah, please do.
But sometimes you would see like these guys go and they would have frozen turkeys.
What?
That would be like spoiled.
Oh, for the gators.
And then they would throw them in to the water, and these gators would fucking attack.
Yeah.
Attack these frozen turkeys.
It
was so entertaining. It's very illegal probably, but I wasn't doing it. I was just a spectator.
It's actually not illegal to feed the gators. It's illegal to touch them.
Really?
Yeah, you can feed the gators. They don't want you to feed them because it makes them get habit. A little educational moment. If you do feed gators, they'll keep coming to your house. And if they keep coming to your house to keep expecting food, and when you don't feed them, Fido becomes food.
So how do the gators find you where you live?
They
feed them in Everglades. They have GPS.
They just don't leave. So I hit a spot in the Everglades on Tamiami Trail. I take my kids there when we go down. I drive through there, and it's actually like they have signs everywhere said don't feed the gators. But I've seen the park rangers feed them, and you know it's for tourists. They want people to stop. Yeah. You know, so they want people to walk up and see the gators, but the gators will just stay there. They know they're going to get a food. Mm-hmm. They're going to get food at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Why would you leave? You're going to get a steak dinner.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So speaking of little gators, a little gator is a grunt. Is that correct? And Boone the Gator King has two little grunts at home.
Yeah. This tattoo is actually for them.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. This. It's hard to see probably on the camera.
Oh, it's a nest.
It's a nest. The egg is for my daughter, and the little gator is for my son. And then I will be getting it finished and bringing up the Gator King.
Oh,
to my
really?
shoulder.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I used to not be into tattoos a lot, but now like I see a lot of cool tattoos, and if they mean something, I think I can resonate with that.
Buckshot art, by the way.
Buckshot art, man. Also, limited tattoos.
No, not anymore. No. Buckshot art.
Buckshot art. He's a tattoo shop.
Yeah, that's
James. I'm sorry, I can't remember your.
It's Buckshot Art. His tattoo name.
So James is in Land O'Lakes, Florida. That's where I live.
Yes.
As well, and he does some of the best work. He is actually sometimes known as James Mitchell.
Yeah.
Or Michael.
Yeah.
Remember. He's our announcer for Tampa Bay Pro for most of our super events. James is incredible. Yeah. Shout out to him. Shout out to Buckshot artwork.
Yeah. And then go to them anytime you want. He's one of the best tattoo artists I've seen here.
Incredibly talented. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. So you got 2 kids. You were married before?
I was never married.
So you were never. So you got baby mama.
I got a baby mama. Yeah.
And how long were you with her for?
15 years.
15 years, but never married.
No.
So how long was the from when you actually met her to when she got pregnant?
I think we made it 6 years.
6 years, and you lived together at that point?
By that point, we lived together. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I don't want to pry, but like, was it just common differences?
No, yeah.
Screw apart type of thing?
We just don't get along. We were just don't fight with your baby mama, just leave. It's easier.
Don't fight with your baby mama.
It's easier to just leave.
I'm married to my baby mama,
Yeah.
so.
Well, they live in South Florida, and I moved up here.
So doing the distance, the long distance fatherhood, parenthood thing for the past, what are you, 5 years now?
5 years now.
So for the past 5 years, I know you go back probably about once a month at least. You'd have wrestling shows over there. I'm sure you kind of stop by.
I try and get wrestling shows down there. Since COVID, it's been kind of hard. To be honest with you, a lot of the shows down there like completely stopped. I was getting booked down there 2 times a month.
Okay.
So it was easier to, like kind of slide and go see them. They don't really like watching me wrestle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, parents, you think it's going to be cool for your kids to watch you wrestle? They're not going to like it.
Yeah.
They worry. They don't realize it's fake sometimes. Well, not fake, but like I'm acting some things.
One thing we have to realize as parents is, for our wives or baby mamas or our kids, they don't love wrestling like we love wrestling.
Yeah, they don't understand.
And that's a hard thing because wrestling is like a drug that you need all the time. It's like a medication, and you have to be, get your fix right. But the thing is they are not in that chain, right, of need. So
the last time my kids watched me wrestle, Dax, was actually when we wrestled.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
What show was that?
The Tampa Bay Pro, not the Battle of the Bay, the one that we did after that. I don't remember.
I'm losing track of wrestling.
It was me and you. Yeah, so a long time ago.
So many.
Me and you. It was the one that that Father Jim got involved in, and you put him up on your shoulders.
Oh yeah.
That was the last time they watched me. They were actually crying.
Oh yeah, I remember them there. I remember them at that show. Now that you say that was our second Campbell Park show.
Yeah.
In St. Petersburg.
Yeah, Battle of the Bay was the first one. That's when we did the Hoss match, and then we led into that. And then they were crying at that show. They couldn't. They thought this man was literally killing me.
We had a lot of fun, and we both wrestle very physical. Obviously, I wasn't your trainer by any means. Jay Lethal trained you at the Lethal Academy,
You're not a midget with muscles, Jay. Please don't kill me now.
And I remember when you came in, it was one of our largest classes because I used to do the recruiting for the Lethal Academy.
Yeah, 12 people.
And we had 12 people. Yeah. Trying to think that class. Royce.
It was
Crush's son.
Royce was Crush's son.
Anthony Santa.
Mm-hmm. We had Logan.
J.C. Mercer. Or
Logan Wright.
Logan Wright.
Yep.
I hate it.
There was also Kelly.
Oh, Kelly, Nick Abrams' wife.
Nick Abrams' wife. Mm-hmm. And some of these people didn't make it, so
or they made it and they dropped off, or they had injuries or life things.
Dean was a big part of my class.
David King, half of the Midnight Tribe.
Yep.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun.
No, my class was the last.
Jackson wasn't in your class.
No, but my class was the last one that really had the veterans coming and interacting with the students.
Yeah. I mean, it's 5 years ago now.
Yeah, but we had, I think when we did our heat drill, there was 18 of them showed up.
Yeah. So
for you guys that don't know what wrestling is, the heat drill it's like a 4-minute exercise that you have to do with each person. And we had 12 of us had to do it with 18 people. I think the class took like 4 hours, right? 3 hours, that class?
Yeah.
And it was just us running the heat drill. And oh my God, I wrestled a 35-minute match.
Yeah. And people don't realize, like, I tried to cool that building the best that I could.
Building's hot. This building's a lot more cold.
I had 3 space coolers in this basically pole barn with aluminum siding in it. Yep. And it was miserable.
Bumping in the winter felt like rocks.
Yeah, like our new training center is light years ahead of where we were, but I'm very appreciative of being able to, that kicked us off, right? That got us going. It's not about me, but like when I started, we were training in sort of industrial center, but smaller and not very nice. when it was Uproar Academy, when I trained with Jay. And then when we moved over there, that was kind of just to get the ball rolling. We were there for 3 years.
Well, you know, I actually shopped schools. I shopped schools between. I started to know a lot of like the wrestlers and asking them where to go. And I'd ask guys like one of the guys I asked was Martin Stone. I don't know if any of you guys. What was his name on WWE? Danny Burch. Danny Burch was his name on WWE, and he did NXT for the past 4 years, I think it was. He's been on NXT. Just actually got released, and I think he's just waiting to get back into shape. But anyways, we'll get off that.
He's a hell of a worker.
He's an amazing worker. Martin, when you come back, buddy, I want to get it in, but no. Well, I used to talk to him all the time. He was one of the guys that I got to know at Ronin Pro Wrestling. I got in with Trevor Reed and Mike Monroe, and I started getting to know a lot of the workers that way. And you know, I started asking him, like Barrington Hughes was one of the guys that I asked. I said, hey, where do I want to go? I had 3 schools picked. I had Team 3D Academy, I had I Believe, and I had the Lethal Academy. You know, I went and I asked the wrestlers where I should go. All of them were like, well, Team 3D Academy is good, but if you go to Team 3D Academy, you know, it's
pretty grueling.
It's grueling,
and you're not going to touch the ring.
Right. Well, they all told me.
They
all told me, you know, it's going to take you some time, and I'm 30. I was 30 years old when I was thinking about starting, so I didn't really have like 6 years to give. Like, you know, some of these younger people, you know, the younger students have 6 years. They go at Team 3 before they actually get to have a match. So, you know, Martin was like, no, go to Lethal. And he was the one. But Barrington and them all said it too, but Martin Stone was the one that really was like, he explained why.
Yeah.
You know, he said, well, he'll make sure that you're safe. He'll make sure he teaches you the moves. He's very meticulous. He's very, he centers his training around you and to make you better. And when, you know, like a wrestler
is true.
It's true. No, it's true.
Jay's the best, in my opinion, but I'm biased. So.
Well, we're all biased. I say he's the best too. I honestly wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Jay Lethal. So, but I came up here. I mean, I knew who he was. I watched wrestling for a long time. I was a big Jay Lethal fan. I don't think we ever got him to do the Ric Flair impersonation though. In our class. I always wanted him to do it.
I don't like it. It's like, you know, it's he's not like a dog and pony show.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't. That's my opinion. You know, it's something that he does, or he did, and he doesn't need to have to perform it all the time.
Yeah. So I think that coming here was the best move for me.
Yeah.
The people I got to meet, I got to train with Hunter Law, Snoop Strikes, Troy Hollywood, Stephen Frick,
Danny Vincent
was there. I mean, we had the Dirty Blondes coming in all the time. Eddie Torres coming in. Troy Hollywood, it was Mercury ended up coming halfway through and really helped me with my mat game. And I started off in high school. I used to do combat sports, so it was different. Coming to do wrestling.
What kind of combat sports?
I did judo. I used to box a lot, and I did a little Krav Maga training and jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu was one of my favorite things to do. I really like folding people up, putting them in submissions, but it's really not a gimmick.
So just backing up. So you went to high school where?
I went to high school in Miramar. I was actually homeschooled.
Okay, you went to high school. So you tested out in Miramar. And then what happened after? Like you graduate high school, and then what happened? Like,
you know, UFC was getting really popular at the time. Though I knew I wanted to be a wrestler all through high school. So like my one of the counselors that I have would take me to the gym, and he would do weightlifting with me.
Okay.
Like pro wrestling weightlifting. So that's why my legs were strong when I started and stuff. A lot of my body and muscle memory was already still there from high school, but UFC was getting really big, and this was back. Like the late 90s, so it was when pretty much average Joes were getting into it. You know,
a lot of people. I remember when you first came, you were a little bit heavier then.
Yeah, obviously.
How much do you think you weighed?
I weighed 335 pounds when I started.
335 pounds. Yeah, like you were a heavier guy, but like I could tell. As somebody like, you know, when I started, I was in my 30s, like around the same age as you, and I could tell. You had athletic ability, at some point.
Yeah.
And you were sort of like reactivating it as the weight started coming off. That athlete was showing more and more. You weren't like, hey, roly-poly, got in the ring, couldn't do shit. You actually surprised a lot of people, I think.
I remember
and continued to do so.
Well, I remember the first time I did a float over. We did the headlock takedown into a float over, and Jay saw me do the float over, and he was like, "Wait, can you do that again?" Because I mean, even like I said, I did wrestling background, so like that kind of stuff, float overs and all that was easy. What was hard for me was not hurting people.
Yeah.
Like not doing the move really.
Going too hard, knowing your own strength.
Right. Well, because in wrestling and jiu-jitsu, you don't care.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of you holding back or you caring about what the other person or if they can even walk away. Honestly, you want to win the match.
Yeah, you got to eat them up.
Yeah. So, like when I was training to do that, a lot of my moves were forceful, impactful, and didn't have any care for your body. And that was one of my main problems coming to wrestling.
Yeah.
Actually.
Cool. So, so that was your start. You got started. Kind of had this background. I'm in the same generation, age group you are, for the most part. So I remember, the UFC breakout years with Chuck Liddell and Rampage and all those guys. And I also was a big fan of like the old UFC 1, 2, like
the no time limits,
the no time limits, no weight limits.
Yeah, just don't hit him in the nuts. That's all I ask.
It was almost like barroom style.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. And then when they got like a little more regulated, I didn't like it as much. And but like I like the almost like Street Fighter aspect, like the movie Street Fighter, like those you get sumo wrestlers versus cool karate guys. I thought that was so cool. But you were in that same generation. You probably, for me, I'll tell you, there were a few years that I felt out of wrestling.
Yeah,
because I was more in the UFC or MMA. Well, it wasn't that I wasn't watching. I just wasn't watching as often.
I mean, if you want to talk about wrestling, we can get on to wrestling and that, and then what I used to watch and everything like that. Honestly, WWE killed the industry when they bought WCW. That's my personal opinion. The wrestling got so watered down and like pushed into your face, and there was no alternative to watch. So I stopped watching wrestling from like, I want to say 2003.
Was that because because there was just one company, or was it because there was wrestling, because if you were an old WWF guy, you liked the Hogans and the Warriors and the Savages and all those guys, $1 Million Man, and then those guys went to WCW, and then when they went under, it was like they had no place to go because WWE was all the young talent at that point.
I think that one of the things that back in those days was the shock value. I mean, guys were doing Monday Night Raw and then showing up on Nitro the same hour. I mean, you didn't have the internet to kill. Like, I mean, we just watched.
We had the internet. There were dirt sheets. There was Raj.
Right, but you had to actually go look for it.
But you had to be an enthusiast to do that. Mainstream people weren't doing that. Some people would sneak out and look at the spoilers.
How many people knew Cody Rhodes was going to be at WrestleMania this year?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was the worst kept.
But how much bigger would it have been if they had kept that kayfabe going, And I think that's one of the things that wrestling is. It wasn't that I wanted to go watch other things. It's that you could see the script.
Yeah, or like you could see it playing out.
Right.
It was too elementary, I guess, or too basic or whatever.
No
swerves or things like that.
Right.
Which as a more, I guess, educated fans, that's what you crave, right?
Well, when did we get our next swerve? It wouldn't have been until ECW came back. And that was because nobody expected ECW to come back. And then here come ECW wrestlers that you haven't seen, like the Sandman and Tommy Dreamer, and you haven't, because back then people didn't know to go watch indie shows. They didn't know that these guys were traveling the country doing indie shows.
I didn't know. I didn't know. To me, indie wrestling back then, when I was in high school, indie wrestling was ECW. Yeah. That came out at 1 o'clock in the morning. So on local television.
So I stopped watching wrestling for 5 years. My son was born, Aiden. And I wanted something to connect with him, something to feel like we had a bonding moment. He didn't like a lot of sports. He didn't like baseball. He didn't like basketball. He liked wrestling me. Like we would play wrestling matches. I had videos of him and stuff. And so I was watching Raw one night because we were gonna go to WrestleMania. That year it was the year that Rock wrestled Cena in Miami. So we were gonna go to WrestleMania that year. So I figured, hey, I gotta watch something, see what's going on. And I'm gonna be going this year. And a commercial popped up, and it was Ronin Pro Wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Little 30-second commercial. Ronin Pro Wrestling is a company down in Miami. I mentioned them earlier. And they were doing Tommy Dreamer and a Rob Van Dam meet and greet.
Okay.
That's all they advertised. I didn't know anything about the wrestlers, anything like that. So I took my son. It was pretty expensive. We spent like $60 or $70. I have got a Rob Van Dam autograph, got a picture with him holding the ECW. Aiden, my son, Aiden, holding the ECW title, the TV title that Rob Van Dam had because he had the replica with him. Mm-hmm. And we saw the main event was Shawn Prime and Tommy Dreamer.
Wow, yeah.
So that was when I realized, my wrestling legends are still wrestling,
and you're seeing Shawn Prime, a guy you probably never heard of.
I've never met Shawn Prime,
but you saw him go against Tommy, and then that was redeeming to, I'm sure, Shawn.
Yeah,
Shawn's a hell of a worker.
Well, he worked his ass off in that match. I mean, he made me a fan in a second. Like he's hard hitting, and that's one of the reasons. And we'll get to that. One of the reasons that I had requested him to come up here to work with me. It really is a personal thing, and he really is one of the main reasons that I started wrestling.
Yeah.
And that's not a shoot.
Yeah. And you guys are gonna play this out. It's going to come to fruition. I can't wait to see more of that. I don't want to get too much into how the sausage is made. But so like that was your first opening. Now I seem to remember. When I first heard about you, even before you kind of a training, I believe when the Mania was here in Orlando, the last time.
Yeah, I was there.
You were going to some of the indie shows, and you were helping do coverage.
We were doing
reporting.
Yeah, me and a couple friends. We wanted to do something that was. Well, I think it's done now. I think it has kind of been done, but we wanted to take indie wrestling and bring it together. So there's no cohesiveness between companies.
In the reporting of it, or in the...
We were going to film storylines for wrestlers and promos for wrestlers, and like what we're doing right now, podcast reporting for wrestlers, and it was going to be to base the story of their character between all of the companies. So we were going to build a website that when you would go to the website, you wouldn't go look at Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling. You would go find a wrestler like Stephen Frick, and you'd click his profile, and then it would come up with his matches of all the different promotions he's at. He works at ACW.
So kind of like Cage Match.
Kind of this was before Cage Match. So that's what I'm saying. I think it is done now. I think Cage Match does it now.
Well, it's
somewhat is what
Cage Match is I think it's in Europe.
Yeah,
it's like Deutsch or German or whatever.
But we were going to travel the country, and we were going to try and get with the big leagues, big names, and stuff like that. We started one of the companies we started with was Full Throttle.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, John was very helpful with getting us in. He gave us press passes. He gave us full access to the wrestling roster, and he had a staff.
Because there was a show, Orlando City and Full Throttle that weekend.
We covered that
where we run MLW. The Guild.
Guild. We were at the Guild, yeah.
Yep.
We covered that one.
I worked that show.
I
was in the Rumble, and I think one of the Metro Brothers, one of the Metro Brothers, or both of them eliminated me. So
I was upstairs with EC3 talking crap to you.
Probably.
Me and EC3 were literally sitting next to each other. And that was when another one of your students, or another one of the students from the Lethal Academy, started noticing me getting around. That was Brandy Lauren.
Brandy was there.
Yeah.
And I was about to say that. I remember Brandy coming back, and she's like, "Hey, did that guy contact you?" And I said, "Who?" I said, "Oh, Grace." And I was like, "Yeah, he did." He's like, "Is he going to train?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty confident he's going to train." He drove this jalopy with his little buddy Vinny all the way up, and I'm pretty sure they're going to train. But yeah, shout out to Brandy, Lauren, and Brandy was, I guess she talked to you and kind of introduced you to this in a sense, in addition to Martin. But
Well, I started asking after Martin talked to me. I started asking.
But Brandy was in the school, like she was,
Well, I started. Brandy was traveling down south at that time. She was doing a lot of shows down there, so I'd see her almost monthly. And Troy Hollywood was coming down, and Hunter Law was coming down.
Probably Lindsay.
Lindsay Snow, I didn't know was a student here.
Okay,
So
but she was going down there,
right? But I knew that Troy Hollywood was, and I knew that Hunter was, and I knew that Brandy was. So I actually approached all of them. And that's what I said. I did shop the school. And I asked the students, but I mean, there's one thing that every wrestler said. You look at what is being produced from the school, and the names I just mentioned. I can keep going down the list. We pretty much run the indie circuit now. I mean, that is a way to see success.
Like run the indie circuit in the Florida territory.
Yeah.
I got territory, if you want to say that.
The indie circuit here in Florida.
Yeah, so like I kind of like think back on like what you're saying. Like I try to rationalize this. This is what I do, right? And like on the surface, it sounds fantastic. But then, like, we know now it would never work because it's called the independents for a reason. They're independent contractors, independent talent, independent crew, independent promotion.
Hey guys, I've wrestled the same
brokers.
I've wrestled the same people for the past 5 years over and over again.
But also there is that camaraderie. It's a brotherhood, a fraternal thing, or sisterhood.
And I mean, it does help that a lot of us come from the same school because, I mean...
A lot of us do, but I take a lot of pride in that I, was a part of that process. I may not have been the guy training you how to reverse headlocks or whatever, but I was the guy that was the touch point and helped get a lot of guys in. We brought in over... We've graduated over 100 people. Mm-hmm. We probably enrolled at least twice that.
Yeah, and I think if you start naming the top wrestlers in the state right now, they're all Lethal Academy or Wrestling Lab students. So
not all of them, but the people at least that came through this area.
Yeah,
I would say came through us.
But there's the newer ones. I'm obviously the older ones are there.
Yeah.
But
well, I kind of just want to touch on that. I guess, let's talk about stuff out of the state real quick before we finish up. I just want to kind of touch on, one of the things with a lot of younger guys, I try to tell them this, and I'm no veteran or whatever, I guess in indie terms maybe, but I don't consider myself a veteran. Like, I'm just a wrestler just like anybody else. I guess I own the company and I've done some things, a few things here and there, but I tell them you got to network, right? You got to blaze your own trail. You can't just follow what everybody else is doing that's coming out of your school. It's one thing to kind of buddy up, but you kind of have to break away for yourself to break out. And you started going out and working in Kansas.
Yeah.
And that was with AIWF?
AIWF is one of the connections that I had to be able to branch out. Mm-hmm. I was starting to do some of their super shows and then meet some of the promoters out there. This year,
and it was AIWF is sort of like a governing body.
It's kind of like an NWA.
It's like kind of like NWA when NWA was defunct. Then they started AIWF because they didn't have the NWA endorsement or whatever that they paid for.
92 I think is when they started the AIWF. So you're right around the breakdown of the NWA.
So then they rose up. Kind of took that spot.
Yeah.
And so they have like different territories. I've wrestled in different territories.
You wrestle in one now, actually.
Yeah, SWA.
Yeah.
Southeastern.
Yeah.
My title doesn't have AIWF.
No, it's not. That's not an AIWF title.
But there is. I have wrestled for AIWF belts before.
There is an AIWF set of belts. I actually went to California to wrestle for their. I think it was their United States Heavyweight Champion.
Really?
Championship. It was vacant, and they had a tournament for it. And
who was that again?
Well, I went to East Bay Pro.
East Bay, yep.
East Bay Pro.
Jacob Fatu wrestles there.
He does wrestle there very often. Rick Luxury is the trainer out there. Awesome guy. If you're in California, please check out that school.
Mm-hmm. Los Angeles, right?
Yeah. No, they're not in Los Angeles. They're out of San Francisco. Is the closest.
Oh,
city.
North Cal. Okay.
Yeah. Poncienta is the name of where they are. But it's awesome school. Check them out. They really did me. I mean, I traveled from Tampa to there. Mm-hmm. And the guy could have put me in first round and said, go feed one of my students and get out of here. Or, he could have put me in and he put me in somebody smaller. Go beat this guy and then feed one of my students, and that's really all I need you for.
And I think when you start traveling and you show other places that you're willing to put that sacrifice. Right. Obviously, you're not making, they're probably not paying for your flights yet or whatever. We want to get to that middle class where your flights start getting paid for, and maybe your hotel or some trans or whatever, but it's hard to get to that point unless you've been on TV a lot. But regardless, you are making an investment both in time and money and putting yourself out of your element and going out there. I respect the shit out of that.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? And
I do try. I plan on.
Not enough people do that, and I think the reason is they don't have their life in order to do that.
Yeah. Well, I plan on traveling this year to California because WrestleMania is going to be in Cali.
But rewinding there, it started with, correct me if I'm wrong, there was a tryout for AIWF, and it was like a consortium of independents that were doing this big tryout
at KWA,
KWA.
That's
Kansas Wrestling Alliance.
Kansas Wrestling Alliance is a group of 3 promotions up there. Mm-hmm. One of them is the one that Sting was just a part of.
Okay.
I know. I don't remember sorry, guys. I'm banking. But the other 2 is Prairie Championship Wrestling, and then they have XWE. Okay. XWE runs out of Salina, Kansas, and then Prairie Championship runs out of Hutchinson. The other one runs out of northern part of Kansas, but they run, and it's actually a really great idea. I wish more indies would do it. They run together.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty, and that as a promoter myself, that's hard to do. That's hard to co-promote. It's hard to get people to agree on anything.
And you know what it is, but their wrestlers, like their champion for one of their promotions, isn't going to go to another promotion and get buried. Yeah. So they're very in tune with what goes on, and that's one of the things I like about it. Like they know, they know that. One of their guys is Kudo, right? So they'll say Kudo just wrestled Remy, and they wrestled a 45-minute Iron Man match, and there's a blood feud coming out of it. Well, when they go to the next show, they'll still have that kind of correlate in, and it's just like
tie it back.
NWA used to do that too.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart. So you have some built-in storyline to give people a reason to buy a ticket, right?
So this year I got Ring Wars coming up in North Carolina.
Oh, I love that name.
This is going to be great. Yeah. James Anthony, another AIWF show. I'm going to be doing that one. And I am in contact with, like I said, a couple promotions in Cali, SPW and East Bay Pro. I have an open invitation to go back to East Bay Pro. So, but with WrestleMania there next year, and me in my 5th year.
Oh yeah, that's right. We got Collie next year. Yeah.
I figured I should get my face out there. It's easier.
Hey, you know what? I was at I was at Mania
this year, right?
This year, well, not WrestleMania like the actual WWE event, but I was at Mania Week. Outside MLW stuff, and we had 2 shows, and I was telling the guys, I'm like, how if you're in independent wrestling and you're trying to do something, even if you went out there and you're just helping on shows, you're getting your name out there, you're networking with these people, you're meeting new people, you're seeing different wrestling styles. You need to do it.
Yeah, you do. You need to travel.
And if you're not doing it, like maybe you can't do it this year, do it the next year. And because eventually you're gonna have kids or you're gonna have XYZ in the way, and you're not going to be able to do it. So it's such a fun time to be around wrestling. I will tell you, don't make it a family trip. Make it an independent thing that you do.
It's a business trip. Go out there.
It's a business trip.
You don't waste. You're not making that much money back, so don't waste money on tourist stuff.
And don't be one of these guys, but I'm not booked on any shows, because guess what? If you don't go, you won't be booked on any shows regardless. But if you at least try, maybe get you booked on the show later on.
Well, WrestleMania week is definitely, like, a lot of young guys, I think, they don't realize, and I know it because, like you said, I did go to the WrestleMania week in Orlando.
Yep.
And I wasn't wrestling, but I went to, like, 19 shows that week.
Yeah.
And, we did coverage for 19 shows, and it was grueling. But the connections I made that week are part of the reason that my current wrestling career is a little easier.
Yeah.
So,
quick question before we sign off here. For the actual, like when you got out there and you were working with the guys, and I know this is a little odd because I kind of know the answer, but I want to get it out there. Florida workers are regarded as some of the best workers in the independents, and I think the reason is because we get the most work. Right? Because we have a lot of shows. I mean, there's other places that have a lot of shows, but if you live in Oklahoma, you got to drive pretty far to get to a show. Where in Florida, within 2 hours, you can find 8 shows every week.
Yeah, my friends to answer that question, my friends in Kansas, they drive 4, 5, 6, 12, 20 hours sometimes to get to shows.
Small shows.
Small shows, yeah, we're not
hot dogs and handshakes.
Yeah, we're not making money off of these shows.
Yeah, $20, $50 paydays.
I mean, I flew up to Kansas, and they took care of me. They weren't bad. They fed me. Mm-hmm. They fed me. They
took care of you the best that they can.
They paid me a good rate.
Yeah.
But I still paid for my flight. I still paid for my hotel.
But
I was willing to do that.
But that's your choice.
It is my choice. You're not going to get seen.
Yeah.
But I guess to go back to your question, I didn't realize before I left Florida, and this isn't a shoot or a shot at anybody outside of this state, the work rate that we do here in Florida.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize that some of these workers in the country, they don't wrestle every weekend.
Yeah.
I wrestle 4 times a month.
Mm-hmm. At least.
Yeah. And then there's some months
you feel weird. I feel weird if I don't wrestle.
I mean, if it's a Saturday and I'm not wrestling, I don't really like.
It's freaking.
2 weeks ago it happened. I was like, I guess I'm going to a movie.
I guess I will have to see this new Nick Cage movie.
Yeah. So but no, I wrestle 4 times a month. And this month I'm wrestling 7 or 8. I think I got 3 matches this weekend alone. So
I think too, Florida. You look at the trainers. We have incredible trainers.
We have incredible
schools, and part of the reason is because of the heritage that we have here, the lineage that we have with Florida wrestling. Then also a lot of wrestlers retired.
Yeah.
A lot of like the big wrestlers.
Big name wrestlers
they live
down
in
here.
Florida,
They're here.
and still even now a lot of wrestlers live in Florida because of the tax benefits, obviously, and the weather.
Well, I didn't realize how many wrestlers lived in Central Florida until I started wrestling. It's come up, like you said. I grew up in Broward, in Miami area, and I've been thinking about moving back. But one of the logistics of moving back that would be a problem is getting shows. Mm-hmm. I live in South Florida. I don't want to drive 5 hours to get to a show. Yeah. Right now,
well, it's not just 5 hours there. It's 5
hours there and back.
So it's 10 hours.
Yeah, so it's 10 hours
and then
in one
probably
day.
You got to take a break because you got to go 5 straight. But.
Right. So but now I live in Central Florida. If I live in Central Florida, an hour here, an hour south, 2 hours west.
Like the guys I feel for like Barry down there, Barrington Hughes down in South Florida, or my buddy Eddie Santoria Cortez.
Yeah.
Those guys
they come up a lot too.
Like they're landlocked. Right?
Yeah, they're landlocked. They can't
on the bottom there.
And unless you get a company that's going to pay for your flight,
and good luck. Yeah.
And nowadays, especially after COVID, let me be honest. Like, to get back to that subject, this is one of the things I want to say. For any workers that's watching this right now, anybody that's thinking about getting into wrestling, like he said, don't think that putting your money down for a ticket, putting your money down for a hotel is not going to be beneficial for you. Mm-hmm. I personally, like I said, I have an open invitation to go back to East Bay Pro. Mm-hmm. I flew out there myself. Yep. I worked that guy. I worked the tournament. I put my ass in that ring, and I left it there.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I got paid $60.
Yeah.
What did my hotel cost? $200.
$200. Yeah.
What did my flight cost? Another $200. I wasn't anywhere near.
But what did you? Did you make opportunities? Did you make those out there, and then now you can capitalize on it?
Right. Well, now people like this show, like you said, regularly has the Samoan dynasty there. The Fatus are normally there. Like these are people like if I get into a ring with Jacob Fatu and he likes me. The doors that could open for me.
He has family, man. And, Jake's a buddy of mine. I work with him.
Yeah, the doors that could open, and you guys need to start thinking about that. Like he said, the AIWF thing. Like I went to do that because it is a governing body of people. It's 5 or 6 people that govern 6 or 7 belts. So now 5 or 6 people just said when I went to West Coast, they just said, "Oh, Boone's good enough to put to the finals." Because of why? Because they see me traveling to Kansas. They see
that work.
Traveling to California, right?
Yeah.
And then that's what I say, man. Just put your heart on the line. I'm 5 years in, and like I said, I'm thinking of going to Cali this year just because that's the best place to get seen is WrestleMania week.
Yeah.
And if I start getting my name out there now and
just keep working.
Yeah.
Just keep working. I guess, is there anything else you want to, like, I guess, upcoming shows, merch plugs, anything you want to kind of plug right now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can definitely find any of my merch. Boone the Gator King merch is on TampaBayProShop.com.
Shop TampaBayPro.com.
Oh, shit. Shop TampaBayPro.com. I'm WWE fixed. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you can find all my merch there. I think we have tumblers there. We have a bag. I like the gin bag's nice. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Shirts that we put on there, hats, a lot of it's all original stuff.
Yep.
This man right here helps out with all of it.
I don't print it myself. The company does it. But,
he's helped out with the designing.
But
you can find me on Facebook.
I guess let's plug like some of the promotions that you work with. Of course, you work
over
here at Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling. But where else have you worked in Florida? That I mean, I know you were down at Real Pro with Zach and Jordan.
I'm actually still undefeated at Real Pro.
Hey, there you go. Zach and Jordan, plugged in my guys down there. Though.
Yeah, Real Pro is a great outlet for guys here in Florida,
especially newer guys.
Yeah, I started off with them. I learned a lot.
Older guys.
I went through my bumpy roads at Real Pro. They definitely ironed me down. Some of the other great promotions in this state. I love working for Platinum Pro Wrestling.
Oh yeah, JK.
He's
down there, down south.
He's got a real good wrestling mind, and now we've moved to TV production, so it actually is.
They stepped it up.
Yeah, it stepped it up. I actually have to do TV production work. I gotta feed to a camera. It's so much different.
Yeah, but we do this all the time.
We do this here, but it is I'm not. Like Knockout Wrestling, I was their champion. I was their last champion.
Yeah, I was there when you won it. Yeah.
We unfortunately they closed the doors for a couple months. We will be back though.
I think they'll be back.
Yeah, we'll be back.
I think that Nick will be back.
Shadow Wrestling Alliance is a new one that I'm enjoying going up to.
That's with Michael
El Rey. A lot of freedom in my character up there, so I like doing that.
So Mike's doing that up there.
But the big one that I got to plug, you got to come out, especially for Tampa Bay fans, Tampa Bay Pro fans. You guys are probably all in the same area. Come out to Palmetto and check out Universal Championship Wrestling. That's
Johnny and Steve's show.
We have big plans, so
I know they're a big part of it. Yeah. I've seen some of the production down there. A lot of my guys that consider brothers are working down there.
Yeah.
One of my mentors, Steve, Torture.
Actually, he'll be wrestling Sunday.
He's a big part of that down there, and I see they're doing some good stuff. I love the production. It reminds me a little bit of when we used to run the Roundup.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, that's how it feels.
I've been telling them, they've been trying to just, hey, come on by, check out the show, and I do. I'm gonna try to. It's just I live in Land O'Lakes or Palmetto, but it's not that far. But it's just more time. But
I mean, we don't get a lot of that. The reason
but go back real quick. They are running a town that is notorious for not drawing, and they're drawing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That is so. I respect the shit out of that.
They're notorious for I think Fighting for a Cure was gonna do a show there, and they actually had to pull out of their show. Not just because of ticket sales, it was COVID too, but
it was COVID.
It was COVID problems, but they weren't selling as much as they were in Sarasota.
It's hard right now.
Yeah.
And right now, I've been talking to a lot of guys, and we're not doing bad at Tampa Bay, but we definitely seen a hit, because I think we're still in this weird hangover
It's this
time.
inflation. No, it's
and inflation and gas and
But
and we have a war. Well, we don't, but
UCW draws 200 to 300 a month.
I mean,
in an area like you said that doesn't.
That's a hell of a draw for this area, and I respect the hell of that. And so, how often does UCW run?
We run every third Sunday of the month. We don't even run on a Saturday, so you can go see other wrestling shows. Mostly run on Saturdays.
What are they charging for tickets? Like
15 bucks,
yeah.
$20 for front row, I think.
If you are a wrestling promotion and you are charging less than $15 for a ticket, you need to up your price $15. I'm just saying that. I'm not trying to hit the fans, but wrestlers and promotions are worth at least $15 of your time. I mean, at this point, you can go and a value meal at McDonald's is costing you $12. Okay, so you know, and you're only satisfied for about 2 minutes for that. So you know, guys and gals are busting their butts for 3 hours. You can pay $15. I'm not trying to be like a money grubber, but we got to keep the business alive here.
Speaking of the promotions, though, one last plug, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to be opening one.
You are?
Yes.
Breaking news here.
Yes. Well, we can leave it on the Patreon, so I figured that would be fine.
It's on the Patreon.
Yeah. Hey, it's not public.
The video's on the Patreon.
Yeah.
This might be in the podcast.
This might be in the podcast.
So I kind of, this is a little loaded. I know you guys been kind of poking at me, kind of trying to get some questions. I know the other person involved, but
yeah.
But you guys are working on something. You're shopping around for venues, which
we
is
just
the
need to find a
hardest
venue.
thing possible is
Yep.
finding a venue. I just saw someone online asking about, hey, I need a venue that can do 300 people. I'm like, it's hard. You better break out the wallet, buddy.
It sucks because, you know, where we're going to go is where UCW is. That was our first, like, a year ago.
But they're there.
Yeah, now they're there, so I don't want to step on their toes,
Yeah.
but, you know, we are looking up here in Central Florida, and
I believe in the laws of attraction, and you putting it out there, and maybe someone out there in the interweb will hear it, or
maybe find me a venue
or help him find a venue. Help him do this because then I can rent my ring. Production.
And he can also get on the show.
And I get on the show.
Then he gets on the show. He can speed up students' favorite thing.
I'll carny my way and make as much money as possible.
Yeah,
that's what it's about. I'm a businessman.
Yeah, that's how we do this right here.
No, I would probably work for Brother Rate, but I'm charging for the ring.
So I'm thinking of running in Trinity area at the moment.
Trinity, okay. That's not too far from me.
That's where we're looking at the moment.
Well, I wish you luck with
you.
that. I'm sure I'll be in the loop there.
You are.
And even if I'm not, I'm not going to be upset.
We need his ring. He's in the loop.
People just use me. Show me the money. That's what I say. So speaking of that, if you are looking for a ring of Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling, Armada Professional Services. That's what Armada Pro is, by the way. And we do professional services and rentals.
Yeah,
so if you guys are looking for production, you're looking for rings, you're doing all that, I'm hijacking this so I can plug my... this is a plug just for my stuff, so I keep the lights on. Go to TampaBayProWrestling.com, and there's stuff on rentals on that. Cheap plug.
Well, thanks for having me, Dax.
Hey, this is the first one. I figured I would get the most interesting guy I could think of. Well,
this is the first time anybody's seen me break character, so.
And you were already coming, so
yeah.
Kind of convenient here. Down here at the Tampa Bay Pro Training Center.
This is not the same ring that Jay Lethal was beating up Ric Flair in last week, though.
It is not. That is over at the lab.
Yeah.
That's in the same industrial center.
Yeah.
But it is a hidden incognito. You can't just go and see them there. Don't show up to our training center if we don't know you're coming because you'll be asked to leave. We are
very
trying
protective.
to be inconspicuous.
Yeah, we're very protective too.
So, anyway, I guess final sign off. Where can people find you on social media?
Oh yeah, check out my social medias. My Instagram just got changed to the Gator King Boone. So you can search it there.
Is it like TH?
Yeah, with
not
THE with underscore Gator underscore Boone underscore King.
Jesus, that's a lot of underscore.
Somebody stole the Gator King already.
Jesus.
So I had to actually change it.
Imposters.
Yeah, my Twitter is the same at Boone the Gator King. I think is what it is. My handle
Twitter.
is.
You're on Twitter.
I am actually on Twitter.
If you are an independent wrestler and do not have a athlete Twitter page, you are not doing yourself justice because that's how you get booked in other states, by the way.
Most of my promos and stuff, though, if you want to follow, my main page that I usually keep up to date is my Facebook page. You can find me, just search Boone the Gator King. I pop right up.
He pops right up.
And I am the first person to show up. My ugly mug is right there. But yeah, no, you can find me on all of those. I am very active on my social medias now. A lot more than I used to be because, like you said, this is what you got to do now. Unfortunately, it's the day and age we live in. So if you want to find me on any of that, send me a tweet. I will respond. It will be me. It's not some manager.
Yeah, it's not some big company skyscraper folk. Yeah. One final question. Right now, realistically, if you could pick anybody to wrestle on not a squash match of your choice, that is still actively wrestling, who would it be?
That's a good question, and
it can't be me because I've already wrestled.
It's not you, actually. It's not anyone in Florida. Actually,
no, I'm not gonna.
The guy that I would wrestle is in California. His name is Sir Samurai.
Sir Samurai.
Yeah, he actually trained. He was Thatcher.
Tim Thatcher up in San Fran.
Yeah,
yeah.
He actually trained.
I know Tim. Tim's props to Tim, man. Yep. I want my match still.
but he's a little guy, and he has so much fight in him. He runs a group called the Honor Society, and they run.
Is it a faction or is it a promotion?
It's his students. It's his
students.
It's
his students. Okay.
Yeah, but they run the promotion is SPW that I was telling you about earlier. In
what's SPW stand for?
Supreme Pro Wrestling.
Supreme Pro Wrestling. Okay.
I'm sorry if I butchered that.
Cool.
But he runs out of San Fran.
Sir Samurai.
Sir Samurai.
SIR
Samurai. And he usually tags with his student, Mighty Myra.
Mm-hmm.
And but no, I would love to wrestle him. I think.
Hey, we're putting that in the universe now.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen. I believe it will. I'm not even questioning. Sir Samurai, get ready.
You're coming to Florida, buddy.
You're gonna wrestle Boone the Gator King. I don't know where or when, but at some point you're gonna wrestle Boone the Gator King.
But he's really when I watched him first, I met him in Kansas. That show that I told you to, I went in Kansas, and he did this tag team match, and he got German suplexed by a 4-foot girl, and he did all the work, and he was just a workhorse, man. When I watched him, I was like, oh, we could have a match. He likes the physical style that I like. He's faster than me, he's smaller than me, so we can play that big man, small man thing. Yeah. But at the same time, he's very, very physical. So yeah, he's one of the current actively wrestling wrestlers, other than Eddie Torres, that I'd like to wrestle.
Eddie Torres, quick plug for Eddie Torres. He is the authority.
He is the authority, and then
he's the Judge Dredd of Florida Independent Circuit.
He's kind of what I need.
He is the most grizzled veteran of all. Hey, I want to tell you right now, I'm going to put myself over. I gave Eddie Torres the grizzled name because I remember he kept making these rants, and I said, God. Eddie, you are so freaking grizzled, and he popped for it, and now it's the grizzle rant.
Look, a lot of people.
Eddie, I know I'm putting myself over. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it was about. I helped him get there.
I mean, a lot of people, they talk bad about Eddie, but
state line.
But he is his approval. He's the godfather of wrestling here in Florida.
He is.
He is. If you wrestle here in Florida and you don't have Eddie approval over you, you should just put your boots in the middle of the ring and walk away.
Eddie,
and he's right. He's not wrong.
Eddie, you're like a cockroach. You just never go away. you just bited everybody's legs. Now Eddie's a hell of a worker, probably one of the best work rate wrestlers in the freaking world. I was so happy to see him on AEW. Well, guys, that's it for the Daxcast. I appreciate everybody here. If you want to see this in video format, you can subscribe to our Patreon. Ben, what is enthusiast?
$10 tiers enthusiast.
$10 tier.
That gets into this.
That's going to get you to the video.
Of this. Oh yeah. You want to see the video?
So you want to see the video? You want to see my ugly mug?
You want to see his ugly mug, and I got my shirt off.
Oh Jesus!
So what better?
Don't you have to subscribe to the OnlyFans for that?
Hey! No OnlyFans.
I don't have an OnlyFans.
Patreon. We're clean, baby.
Yeah,
We're clean
I don't do nudity. I only show my chest.
Hey, okay. Guys, thank you. This is the Daxcast. I'll see you at the next one.
So Tampa Bay Pro
Wrestling.
All right. Thank you very much.
So much, Boone the Gator King. Thank you, buddy. Cut.
Thank you.
Hey, for all your merchandise and collectible needs, check out shoptampabayprowrestling.com. We've got merch and more from your favorite superstars. We'll see you there.